Hello everybody, how is it going? And welcome to another episode of Amps of the Axe FX 3. Today, we are checking out the German Engl Powerball. Guys, if this is the first time you've been here before, or if you've been here a couple times before, make sure you press or smash, whatever you want to do, that subscribe button so that way you don't miss any of the cool content that I got going on here. So, let's check out the Engl Powerball. Let's see what the IR we're working with. Let's see what the pedal I got in front. Let's start with the pedal. I'm using the Precision Drive. This one's new to the Axe FX. Came in firmware 13. I'm currently on the newest one, 14. I really like this pedal a lot. I'll show you what the amp sounds like with the pedal off in a little bit. Of course, Powerball. IR, same one I use pretty much for a lot of stuff. It's a GGD Zilla 412 oversized with a UK V30 with an SM57 on it. And here are some of my settings in my cab block if you want to check those out. So let's dive into the Powerball and let's read a little bit about it. Everything you see right here is going to be coming from EX Amp Guy. I'm going to put a link to that in the description if you want to check that out. So the Powerball is a very interesting amp because even among Engl diehards, it's not really everyone's favorite. And I'll get to that in a second. So it's a two-channel amp. It's a two-channel amp with two modes per channel. So they think of the, yeah, see right here, they describe it as a four-channel amp. So they have two modes per channel. The one that's in the Axe FX is based off of the lead mode. The mode 1 gives you clean and crunch, and then the lead mode, that's the one that you heard in the intro, and the one that we're going to be discussing. If you want to hear some real life amp demos of it, Paul from Guitar World actually does a pretty good demo of it, and of course Ola does a great demo of it. Now this amp is very interesting because I prefer the Savage to the Powerball because the Powerball is it's very hard to dial in. Like, let me show you my EQ settings. So the mids on here are actually really good. You don't really have to pull a lot of them out, but there's a lot of bass and there's a lot of fizz. I never usually pull 8K out of any of the amps that I done. Very rarely do I ever have to come up here and pull stuff down. Of course, I had to pull it out here because there's just so much fizz. There's a lot of 250 and 125 kind of in it too, so I'll pull a little bit. But I'm scooping 500, but I really didn't have to do that a lot here. I didn't really mess with anything else, to tell you the truth, with everything else the same. I fought with the input drive on this a lot because see, it's on 3. If you push it really hard, you get a lot of fizz going on. The bass, I had it at 1, I pushed it up to 2. And look at the master volume. I have the master volume low. Like, you have to pull out all the tricks that you can think of whenever you're messing with the Powerball to try and get it perfect. Like I said, mids on here are actually really good. That's the best part of this amp, but everything else is just so hard to dial in. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about with the fizz and stuff like that. I'll play a little bit and I'll move some controls around. I'm using my headless Black Cat with some Fishman Tosins, and everything you're hearing today is off of the bridge pickup. The input drive on it is good from about 4 to about, I had it at 3. It was a little bit dry at 3. But you have to be careful with it, like, cause as you heard, there's so much fizz that comes in. So okay, so let's set it at like 4, right? Or let's do it right here, and I'm gonna get rid of my cut, the 8K. You hear how much fizz is in there? It sounds so much better with that cut in there. It's ridiculous. I think right here is pretty good. You can get some nice good purrs with it. Ah, still a little dry. See? And the bass starts to come up. So I have the bass around too, so it's nice and thick. But as you push up the input drive, you've got to turn your brightness and your bass down. They're kind of congruent, like on a graph. The more input, the more, you have to turn them down. The treble, I had it higher than this, because if you push it up, you get more clarity, but it also kind of gets ice picky. So you see what I mean? Like, it can hit ice picky really quick. Mids, like I said, the perfect part of this amp. Now, this amp, it definitely needs a drive. I'm going to turn off the precision drive and let you hear how that sounds. The precision drive saves this Powerball a lot. I did experiment with, where is it? So this is a typical 808, and I'm going to use the typical settings that I normally would. This is normally how I would use the 808 in front of a high gain amp. As you can tell, it's like kind of bassy. I put the drive up on the actual pedal because I'm trying to get a little bit more distortion from the pedal itself as opposed to pulling it from the amp and you get all that fizz. As you can see, I have a lot of drive on the precision drive to kind of give it a little bit more boost. And I found another trick that you can do to kind of tame the Powerball is if you turn your volume down a little bit, it kind of gets rid of a little bit of that nasty high end. It's not a lot. You can kind of tame it a little bit, but man, the Powerball is just, it's a hard amp to dial in. Like the Savage, a couple episodes ago, we did the Savage on amps of the XFX3, and I used the same guitar, and the Savage was just so much easier to dial in and had a lot better tone. The Powerball is just difficult. Let's do EQ on and off real quick. Overall, I think the Powerball, it's okay, but it's not really my cup of tea, which is weird. I can't get along with it. It's just, like I said, the mids in this thing are really good, but everything else, like the highs and lows, are just crazy all over the place. It may be good for you. Test it out on different guitars. For me, it was kind of weird. That is going to wrap things up for the Engl Powerball, guys. If you thought this video was cool, leave me a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. Sub if you haven't already, guys. Lots of cool stuff going on here. Next episode of Amps of the XFX3, we're going to continue our journey in the E's, and we are going to be checking out the Bogner Ecstasy 20th Anniversary amp. We have some cool things from here. It's called Euro and the actual XFX itself. So that's going to be on the next episode, and until then, guys, I'm going to have to catch you later. Peace.